part of why him being such a lovely masculine grump character is she knows if she leaves, she's going to hurt him.
We're Heather and Natalie, the Romance Rippers, romance addicts and authors. We're here to help you craft stories that leave your readers begging for more. This is the time to get that story out of your head and give book lovers the emotionally satisfying ships they crave. Now let's get to the heart of romance.
So, a deer, a female deer. We know those.
I can do Sound of Music.
Yes. Ba, ba.
Right.
Hi guys, it's Heather.
And Natalie.
We're the Romance Rippers. Thanks for joining us again. We also have our special guest, little Isabel. In today's episode, we're going to be dissecting Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. Big TikTok sensation, and we're going to be going through the obligatory scenes and see how they have been either applied or maybe don't even exist in this little novella, and discuss why they work or don't work.
This will be a great episode for anyone wanting to better understand the building blocks of the romance genre. And it will also kind of help teach you how to look at your own favorite romance stories and see how you can dissect them to better help both your enjoyment of the stories and your own writing. This episode will contain serious spoilers for the first Planet Barbarians book. And while we won't be getting into any details, if you haven't read it, we do highly recommend you look up content warnings because it's a very explicit book. And it also has some heavier scenes and themes within it.
We're going to just read off the synopsis that is on Goodreads. You'd think being abducted by aliens would be the worst thing that could have happened to me. And you'd be wrong. Because now the aliens are having ship trouble and they've left their cargo of human women, including me, on an ice planet. And the only native inhabitant I've met, he's big, he's horned, blue, and really, really has a thing for me. ... And a quick reminder with the verbiage that we're using when talking about romance genre conventions, we're going to be talking about the protagonist, which is, the traditional, in this case, Georgie is our female protagonist. And we're also going to be talking about the antagonist. And in romance genre conventions, that just actually means the romantic interest, because they are usually helping spur on your main protagonist's growth in getting to that happy ending.
These obligatory scenes are the ones that are so common in romance stories that any story without them is going to feel a lot off.
Scene number 1 is going to be literally your protagonist and antagonist meet for the first time on the page. They've known each other beforehand. Again, it's still the first time they are on the page and being introduced to the readers and setting up their dynamic. And in Planet Barbarians, it does, I think, a pretty fabulous job at doing a fun twist on the meet cute, seeing as Georgia is literally in Bechtel's, one of his snares that he's set for hunting, and has had all the blood rush to her head. So she is needing more than a bit of rescuing outside of even being on a extremely inhospitable ice planet. And Bechtel is very much, I would say, the gentleman in that situation. Cuts her down, goes to make sure she is warmed up and taken care of.
Yeah, he makes sure she's taken care of. All right. Scene number 2 is the protagonist is committed to avoiding an intimate relationship with the antagonist, but there's some reason they can't just walk away from them. And this is really important to creating the tension of how will these two get together in the early part of the story. So we need to make it clear that the protagonist isn't actually interested in being with the antagonist, but they also need to be stuck nearby them. So they're constantly having to interact. And that kind of gets us into this flow of, ooh, I can't wait to see how I see them, mm-hmm. But how are they going to end up together?
Yes.
And that's what really we love in romance stories. And in this scene where Georgie ends up deciding not to just ditch Bechtel, she's really not interested in a romantic relationship with him because she's kind of more concerned about getting off this ice planet mm-hmm. and surviving. But because that's her concern and this big blue alien is taking care of her, he seems like her best bet to survive. So if she can use his obvious interest in her to her advantage to survive, she's going to do it. And nobody can blame her because she's not interested in him like that at this point. We want to know what is going to change the tide.
Yes. How do you get to that happy ending?
And that's what's so important. Why these scenes are so important is each one is a step towards getting to that happy ending.
And setting those expectations.
And making it satisfactory.
So for scene number 3, that is the protagonist and antagonist getting to know one another, and upping those stakes by one or both of them confessing feelings, or there is a escalation in intimacy. So that could be sexual, that could just be a first kiss, it could just be a touch of hands. Like, there's a lot of different ways to play that scene off depending on the route you want to go for with your book. At the midpoint of the story, there needs to be something that seriously increases the risk that is at play and makes the protagonist realize that they can't pretend like things are normal. Obviously, crashing on a nice planet, aliens, none of this is normal for Georgie's normal life. There is nothing normal here. She can no longer pretend like anything that has happened in the first half of the book is the regular status quo, right? But in romance, this usually means that there are clear feelings as well that are getting involved, that are at stake, increasing intimacy in the relationship. So people, they know they could get hurt. And I think that really bumps up that tension, which is really delicious. But for that scene in the book in particular, it's Georgie and Vectel. They are now sleeping together and having a great time. And Georgie does decide that she likes him. She's still not really convinced that she's going to stay with him at this point. But she's like, yeah, he's a good guy. He takes care of me. He is quite emotionally intelligent, very open. He's quite a lovely grump when it comes to the grumps. Part of why him being such a lovely masculine grump character is she knows if she leaves, she's going to hurt him. And that's very clear. And I would say Georgie has mixed feelings about that, understandably.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a priority to stay yet, but it doesn't feel great to leave either. Scene number 4. Whatever misbelief subconsciously drives your protagonist that's led them to make decisions up until this point, usually not great decisions, comes out in full force, sabotaging their relationship with the antagonist. This is the all hope is lost moment of, we don't know, like, you thought that things were going to be okay. Suddenly they don't seem like they're going to be okay anymore. Both to the characters and to us as the reader. And this is the point where you want to stay up until 3 a.m. to find out how does this work out, because it's such an emotional point. The protagonist's journey of transformation is what should be the foundation of any story, but especially the romance genre stories. Their misbelief is why they haven't gotten love before this point to begin with. And now it's causing a lot of trouble in their romantic relationship with the antagonist, the person we know they're supposed to be with. Because Georgie is so focused on the other women who were on the ship that were kidnapped alongside of her, she is willing to set aside her own feelings. She believes everybody needs to act as a group, and if the other girls, if they can leave and they want to go, she's going to go with them, even though by this point she does have feelings for Ragdoll. This book doesn't properly set this up as Georgie, like a misbelief that Georgie is having that needs to be corrected. It actually, the tone of the book feels like this is a good thing. And while we...
Or like it actually is her responsibility.
Like it actually is her... Like, and while we love a girl's girl, like we love that. We love women that support women. This Georgie's martyrdom and willingness to put aside her own needs and her own feelings for what she wants for the betterment of the group, we do see as a misbelief, because this is what has been driving her choices, including poor choices up until this point. And now, if she chooses to leave with the other girls, if they can get off, she's going to leave Vectel behind. It's going to break his heart. It's going to break her heart. We don't get our happily ever after. This scene in this book where she's considering actually leaving with the other girls, they're all kind of discussing it, doesn't hit emotionally like it could if Ruby Dixon had written this as an actual acknowledged misbelief for Georgie. So it doesn't hit us in the gut.
It doesn't have oomph.
It doesn't have the oomph.
Yeah.
So that is a disappointment. However, she's created likable enough characters, and this is a short enough book.
Yes.
It's a novella.
It's not drawn out. It's not belabored. So when I read it, it could have been better, but I was zipping through this.
Yeah.
So it was fine.
Yeah. She still creates an addictive story that you and characters that you care about while missing this particular thing. I do, however, recommend you try your utmost not to miss this, no matter how short your story is, because this is what's going to connect to readers. That's going to leave a lasting impression on them.
So scene number 5 is the protagonist and or antagonist prove their love by sacrificing to ensure that the other gets happiness with no expectations. And that's always such a delicious scene, I feel like, to read as a reader.
It's one of my favorites.
Once the protagonist and or antagonist, like ideally you want both of your main characters to have these things that they're conflicted about, these misbeliefs. But when they realize the error in their misbelief, they then usually are set up to have to sacrifice something. Usually that links back again to that misbelief and what potentially their original goal was. But they sacrifice that to make sure their partner is safe or alive or taken care of. And it really gives, again, that oomph, and it's usually like purely out of love.
Yeah. Sometimes that even means setting it up so that their beloved can be with another.
Oh yeah, juicy stuff. In Planet Barbarians, for this scene, Georgie stays on the planet and accepts the symbiote relationship with the Kui that helps her literally survive on the planet, and accepts that mate bond with Vectel. This does fall a little bit flat, and again, part of that is because it links back to the misbelief, and since that wasn't as fleshed out, it just is like, okay, she accepts it and is staying, and there doesn't feel to be a sacrifice on her part as much, confronting how she's been perceiving how she needs to act. I feel like in Congress with the other women in the group.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. She still hasn't learned that she doesn't need to sacrifice her own happiness for others. And so in that, she hasn't not able to sacrifice something to be with Vectel, which would be her own. I would say probably in this case, it would need to be her own image of herself. The story that she has about herself is what would actually need to be sacrificed. But again, this is a zippy, fun little novella with very enjoyable characters.
Absolutely. And so still 5-star
read
read for me. It's like so fun.
We still recommend despite this, but the sacrifice of identity, of how she sees herself as this good leader and this good person who will never leave anybody behind. I would have loved to seen that actually like gnawed on in this story. Scene number 6 is at the very end of the story. The readers and characters are rewarded with the happily ever after. In modern readers today we expect a happily ever after in our romance. In days gone by, the romance genre didn't always need to have a happily ever after.
Or it was very, like, condensed down into, like, 2 pages.
2 pages. But even still, like, romantic tragedies were much more popular and can still considered romance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to recommend a romance to most people, they're going to assume there's a happily ever after and be pretty disappointed in you if you didn't give them that. Because we want to believe that all the trials and tribulations and sacrifices have solidified this couple to the point where nothing's ever going to break them up again. No matter what happens to them, they will be together for the rest of their lives. Mm-hmm. And this scene is that promise. And socially, it usually, as long as you're dealing with adults, is going to have an engagement, mm-hmm. a wedding, or a baby. To really,
or all three, a combination thereof.
Yeah, it's social proof of that commitment. And we definitely get that in Ice Planet Barbarians. Georgie and Vectal have snuck off to enjoy some more physical intimacy together.
Canoodling.
They are anticipating their baby's arrival. The evil aliens that kidnapped her in the first place do not appear to be coming back. They see signs that they have indeed decided to not come back. And they are just really excited about their lives together forever. So this is truly
iconic.
It's iconic.
Happily
it has
ever
all
after.
The things. They're mated, aka married. They're going to have a baby. And they're taking the time together to deepen their bond. So we don't have any question that they're going to have a great life.
No questions, Your Honor. None at all.
Mm-hmm. No notes.
No notes. No notes, Miss Dixon. So, in conclusion, there is very good reason why Ice Planet Barbarians is so popular with the readers. It's probably one of the original TikTok sensations and really blew up from there. But Ruby Dixon really understands those building blocks of the romance genre, thus what readers are looking for when they're picking up her romance. They don't want a not happily ever after. But with these obligatory scenes, even though she doesn't hit all of them, because she has such a likable couple, it still feels quite fulfilling, especially as a quick, tasty little snappy read that it is. Because I know a lot of people, they'll read Ice Planet Barbarians, the first one, in like maybe 2 hours, and then they're on to the next 20 books that she has in that series. And, you know, in every single one of them, you're going to be taken care of. You're going to have the majority of those obligatory scenes in there. You're going to have that happy ending. You're going to have, for the most part, really fun couples that you root for. She's earned the trust of her readers, which I aspire to be like. And I know you as well. I think you probably, if you're watching this, you aspire for that trust in your readers too. But these scenes are part of what make that easy.
It's gonna give you the container to play and explore, so that you're not wondering, are my readers gonna, is this gonna like pay off? Are my readers gonna like this? If you're hitting like ideally all 6 of these with that, taking your protagonist on that journey of change and transformation via their romantic interest, the antagonist, people are going to really enjoy that, because we love to see it. It's just something we eat, and we love to see it in every way, shape, and form. And stay tuned, because we're going to be releasing soon the second part of this dissection of Ice Planet Barbarians, going over the 9 romance genre conventions. Also, we've created a free checklist that includes both the obligatory scenes and the conventions to help you study your favorite romance books, as well as see if you're hitting them in the romance stories that you're writing. So check out the description box below for the link to that.
Before we go, if you guys want to put in the comments which obligatory scene that you were most excited to use and write in your story, I'd love to hear that, because I always find that really interesting, and different people, I think, resonate with those scenes. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. We had a lot of fun coming up with these and also working on the worksheet. I know it's really helped me with how I both read and how I'm working on my current drafts. It's been helpful. It's good tools.
Thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you soon for another episode. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. Like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe for more romance writing tips and tea on Thursdays. You can also find us on other socials at The Romance Rippers. And before you go, share one of your tried and true romance writing tips below. We'll see you soon.